Hey, everybody. Big Mike on the mic, coming at you, Como Street, January 7th. That's my morning coffee. All that white stuff at the bottom of the cup was milk and sugar, and that's whole milk. I eat meat too, so yeah, is what it is. So right out with Jorge in his pink socks, and Matt and Jay, a bit foggy, a little bit chilly in the morning. We got Sean here, who was tearing it up yesterday on Canyon Valley. Yeah, man, right on. He was just killing it. If you didn't catch that video, watch Sean kill it on the climbs. So, I'm actually underdressed here, so I was a bit chilly here. But look at this young kid, all leg, John Janik. I've never seen so much leg in my life, honestly, and I'm actually jealous. I mean, the guy's got to have 5 feet of leg and 2 feet of body, which I know makes him 7 feet tall, but he looks about 7 feet tall. And there's Mikey jumping over the, whatever that was in the road there, piece of wood, which I don't know if I bunny hopped that or not. I can't remember. So the fog goes away. We're making our way up El Toro here. That's wonderful dawn there in front of me. I've got just a nice little view of the group here as it's stretched out. We didn't really go super hard. What was interesting about Como today was we didn't stop at the light at Lake Forest or I think Bake and Lake Forest. We rolled through, which was usually you get stuck at one of those two lights, if not both, but didn't do that. So we're just rolling up El Toro here, not super fast. And I wasn't too worried about the group getting away because I knew Super Dave was right there next to me, and he's a very attentive rider. And I had an interesting conversation with Super Dave on one of the threads there on Facebook. I want to say from the January 2nd TMWC ride, and we were talking about the importance of watts per, your watts per coefficient of friction, if you will. So how important is it, for you to overcome that, the wind resistance, if you will, and what's your frontal area? And it's something worth looking up if you're interested in that. I know Dave obviously has a real engineer type of background in the design of bikes, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense if you do the research, not so much your watts per kilogram of weight, but your much power you can put out based on your ability to get aero, essentially. And even a small change, so an aero bike, even a small change in your frontal area because of just the slipperiness, if you will, of the bike can make a huge difference. I mean, think about it on a 10-minute, let's say a 10-minute ride somewhere, a 1% difference, right? If your bike can give you just 1%, what is that? 600 seconds. That's 6 seconds over 10 minutes. So that's just a napkin math calculation there, fairly significant. And again, just do the math for an hour ride. It would be 6 times that long, or 36 seconds. So anyways, as we go up El Toro here, I was really going back and forth on whether or not to go Como long, given how hard I went on Canyon Valley yesterday. And I decided not to. Yeah. I decided not to go Como long, so I went short. I wish I had gone, well, maybe I don't wish it because the ride turned out pretty good. So anyways, I'm in with, so the Como short tends to not have the fastest climbers in it, so I'm a B-list climber, which makes me a B-plus climber amongst the B climbers, I suppose. So we're up here towards the end of the climb up Cooks, and I found myself in the front of the group and got, again, 200 speed here, but decided to give a little dig here up to the top of the first Camelback, if you will. And that's rare to see me on the front of any group, despite the talent of the group, if you will. And but nobody was coming around me, so I slowed down a little bit, and Mikey comes around me. Now, Mikey, I've been calling Mike Crazy Mikey Zano, and really, I was meaning to ask. He's a couple bike links up there. I've been meaning to ask him how to actually pronounce his last name. It's actually Zanio. So Crazy Mikey Zanio. I will have to remember to say his last name properly. Ask him what is the origin? The origin. Jeez. what's the origin of the of his name? Anyhow, here's Wonderful Don. Wonderful Don gets a flat tire on his front. He knows something's going wrong. I've slowed the action down here a little bit. You can see he gets a little bit of a shimmy because of that. The tire going flat on him, and not a pleasant feeling when you're going 30 miles an hour, 25, 30 miles an hour. So that little shimmy can definitely put a downer in your day, but he held it together well. So good job there, Don, not going down. Now I'm on Frank's wheel here. This is the final tromp up dump hill. And again, I find myself towards the front of the group. There were you saw a couple guys put a little bit of an attack there. This guy in the red jersey, I don't know him. He's up there in front of both Frank, not that guy in the red jersey. There's another red jersey up there, and Henry. So I'm third down in this little group here, just sitting in the slipstream. And there's two guys up there actually putting some little bit of distance on us. But, this climb, again, up dump is always very deceiving. 10, 15 years ago when I first started doing this ride, I always felt great on the first half of the climb. But, I'm pretty thick in the head. It took me about 5 or 6 years to figure out that don't go hard on the first half, because I always feel good on the lower half of the climb. The trick is to feel better than everybody else on the second half of the climb, right? So if you have some ulterior motive on a group ride to throw down at the top of a climb, you can't really throw down at the beginning unless you're extremely talented, I suppose. So I'm just saving my energy here. You can get still quite a bit of draft. I mean, we're going 18 miles an hour uphill on a 3% grade. There's plenty of savings to be had here. Again, see Super Dave's comments regarding your coefficient of friction as you move through the atmosphere and fluid dynamics and all fun kinds of engineering stuff. So we get to that point where the pavement changes, and I decide to throw some watts down. And I don't think I make 1,000 watts there, but I'm in the 800 range. So again, I've got some good power coming back to me, a little bit of sustainability, and I can actually run these guys who went around us at the bottom. I can run them down and go past them, because they're pretty much lactic acided out at that point in time with their legs. So I can sustain that. You want to sustain that effort at the end, not at the beginning. But then look at this guy come around me at the very end, who was sitting on Brian, I believe, Simple Green. I'll have to tag him on Facebook here. But yeah, all is fair in war and cycling, I suppose. But when we got to the top and he went around me, I still stayed on the gas and made him pay a little bit. So now we're at the very bottom. We got the very finale sprint here, and I did make 1,000. I think I did see 1,000 watts there, and it went by really fast. So you have to rewind it in slow motion, and I have just completely forgotten where the actual finale is at the actual bottom of Jamboree here before we get to Starbucks. But there Frank goes around me in this strong rider in black. So that's Como Street, January 2nd, everybody. Later.